lovelies, welcome to another video. So in Tuesday, I thought we would do a little bit more on this first page for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, so the memory project, whatever they're calling it. It's got a number, but I can't remember. So I've got my beading needle out, and this is one of those that's got the really the open, and so you can thread them, but they're very, very fine. Let's have a look what I've done since last week. I'm working with my Natalie Stewart. I love her hand-dyed cottons. These are very fine. These are the ones really for doing sashiko embroidery, because that's much finer cotton. So I've done some back stitch in that corner. I've done some French knots to go in with what's happening there. I've put a lovely little bead on, and I've used some of my, because you know I love using paper thread. I've used some of this out my stash, and I've sewn around the outside of the C to bring in some of the purple. Now you need, what I use, if I'm using anything that's very thick, and you're trying to get through quite a thick back cloth, I always then use my the bookbinding needle, the great big bookbinding needle, look, because that really makes the parting of the weave so that you can get thicker threads through. So don't be afraid to use that. I use that with chenille thread, all sorts of different threads. I'm just looking to see if I've got any around on here, or whether I've put them all away. I think I've put them all away now, but just bear that in mind. So I thought we would carry on just putting these little star beads now, hoarding them. They're my hoardy beads, and this is all about using up hoardy stuff and making something pretty to look at. I love these. These are little stars, and they're plain on one side and then gold on the other, and they are from Viking Loom in York. So I will leave Natalie Stewart and I'll leave Viking Loom down below. So if you've been with me a while, you know that I do favour using coral stitch when I'm doing an edging for the beads. So basically you need to put your bead on first. Now these are very small holes. I haven't got the best of eyesight to see, but can you see these very fine bendy needles are ideal? Okay, so you bring your thread down, and I have done this before. I'll see if I can link my 12 last year's Christmas December dailies, 12 days of Stitchmas, and I do believe that I featured the coral stitch on that. So we make sure that your thread is on the left hand side. You've already got your bead on, okay, and so move that out your way. You bring your thread around your needle and pull that through slowly, and then wait a minute, that didn't work right, did it? That's it. Okay, so I'm putting 3 on there, so we'll put, it's gone really dull and horrible. We're having awful, say they're having such extreme temperatures in the rest of Europe. It's like autumn here. Okay then, so we're going to take a little bite. We put our needle round, our thread, sorry, round, and pull, and there you've got it. You've got your little, like a little stalk with your bead dangling on. So what I've done a set of 3, then 2 plain, a set of 3, 2 plain, set of 3. So we now do a little 3 plain stitch, which without your bead on is very, very similar to, it's more of a coil, but it's very similar to buttonhole stitch or blanket stitch, except that you have it's more of a loop on it, because you loop it round your needle. You can't see it so much. It's not as obvious with this thin thread. But if you were going to be doing blanket stitch, you would take a chunk and then wrap it round left to right. Whereas here, with the coral stitch, you are looping it round on itself and round in a loop and down. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so we've done our 3. Again, we're back to put 3 small ones on. Now, I've definitely decided that in my book, I am going to have them all fastened at the top so they can be flipped up. So I will do that together. I'm not going to do it yet because we're not sure what the thickness is of the stuff we've got coming up, are we really? Sometimes it's a bit difficult with these really fine beading needle. You stab yourself like that. Because they are, you know, double-ended points, really. I'm bleeding now. There we go. So always remember to put your bead on first, or else it won't pull into place. Put your bead on, keep your thread to the left-hand side, take your bite size. It's very fine, isn't it? Pull through. Keep stabbing myself on this. There we go, it's just getting tangled. There's something really sharp, that end. I won't want to be doing a lot of beading with this sort. There you are, and you've got your knot there. Because, as I say, you keep stabbing yourself because it's a sharp point, both ends. Oh, I don't think this has got a hole all the way through. Let's try this. It's annoying sometimes. You just get the odd bead, don't they, when they haven't quite got the hole all the way through. Okay, put your bead on. Take your bite size. Nice little edging stitch this, especially if you do use really thick embroidery wools. It's really effective looking. I think I use it quite a lot on my the covers we've done together for some of the journals where we've done a sewing project. So we've got those little 3 there. So now I'm just going to do 3 without beads. Now what I think I'll show you is, I'll try and link the video, but also I will try and do it with some, I'm trying to see if I've got any thicker, I don't think I have. If I got some thicker floss, I would. These are all thin, I think, in here. All the thin ones. Beautiful though, the colours. A lot of nice variegated. A little bit more expensive because they're all hand dyed. Natalie Stewart does some fabulous dyed Hessian and burlap, things like that in small packs. So, you know, for doing sort of little embroidery projects, it's they're ideal. I haven't got any here at the moment. Now, the other thing is that this is in there. Can you see this needle? It's one of these that you, to be able to get it threaded, it opens up. I haven't got any nails. Do you know, I've had some gel nails on, and I'm giving them a rest. They've made a mess. Look, you open it like that, so you've got it like that, and you thread your thing through, and then you obviously pull it to the bottom, but you just have to be careful because, as I say, you've got a double thread there. Right, so we might just get 3 little ones on the end there. Now I know we're on to the next prompt. Which is using your special lace. And we'll come to that at another video. There we go. One. I love these. These really pretty, these star beads. There we go. And then we go round. And as I say, with these sorts of needles, they're very bendy. So they're quite forgiving if you're in awkward spaces. Last one. I'm not a massive, I don't do beading on a lot of things, but I always think they make a really nice addition if you're doing a small page, small project. They just give a little bit of extra sparkle, don't they? There we go. So our first and last stitch got all tangled up. And then just go down near there. And that's finished that off nicely. I've left it a bit short. I'll just tie it around there. Okay then, I'm going to put that in my little container so I don't lose it. Okay, so I like that. That's really cute. Nice. Just got a bit of a sparkle going around there. Now, I did mention last week about sewing on paper, and I'll do a separate video on that. But what I wanted to do is, if you have got Rachel's embroidery paper, digital. I love this because there's a thing on here that's JC, so JC for Jane Catherine. And seeing as we're doing initials and what have you on here, I'm going to use that. Now, I am just going to put it on with, excuse me for leaning, I don't know where my glue stick is. I'm ready to get a new one out. So I am just going to give a very light glue, and basically when I've done it this way instead of large, I'll show you the large pieces. But on here then, to make it more robust, I usually choose a stitch that's very similar to feather stitch on the sewing machine, and I just go up and down over the top of the paper, and it does make it, I mean, we're not going to be washing it, obviously we're going to be washing it, I won't put paper on, but it will make it sturdy and more robust, not likely to disintegrate on your project. So I've lightly glued that on, and then I will take it to the machine and sew over that. So what I will do there is I'll leave you a link below of, if I can find it, one of my earlier videos where we do the sewing on paper, and then next video when I show you, probably do a revisit of that, and I'll sew over the top of that. But at the minute I don't really want to do much else because I'm not sure how I'm going to fasten the top yet, whether I do fabric hinges. I'll have to do a bit more investigating to see the sorts of ways that I can make this flip top fabric book. Not seen it anywhere, so I'll have to have a look. Okay then, so thanks so much for joining me. So that's coral stitch with a little bit of beading in there, and yeah, I've only got a small page. I think it'd be overdoing it if we start putting much more on there. There's a little bit of a gap there, but as I say, it depends on how we're going to do the final fixing as to whether I just add a bit of something extra to that. So, okay then, please like and subscribe. I don't know if all of you realise that without liking and subscribing, YouTube don't send my videos. The algorithm doesn't send it on to other people to view it, and it doesn't, you know, and then it stops your channel growing. Even if you just put a little emoji on, excuse me, then that counts as far as YouTube's concerned. So I'd be very grateful if you could do that. Okay then, see you next video. Bye for now.